We are red. Red is run.
Good afternoon and welcome to Thursday, August 15th, Selectmen meeting. Stand and say pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A lot of sugar, yeah. Sugar done. Okay, so let's take a look at the minutes of one.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Let me move my supper out of the way. Tim brought up to this budget committee last night that the officer was starting at $18.50 an hour, and our minutes reflect $17.50 an hour.
Why would it be
I believe it was,
paid different than the rate the selectmen
I
set?
believe the starting rate was $18.50, and then he moves to $21.25, which is the 21.75, which would have been the 21.25, which is step one. And we just make sure and double check that so the minutes reflect the correct hourly wage.
But if that was what the motion was, you would just, in this meeting, you would just address that. You wouldn't change the minutes because the minutes reflect what's
Correct.
actually
I'm just
said.
questioning whether or not we, what I'm remembering is that we made the motion for $18.50, so I'm questioning whether or not it's $18.50 or $17.50.
I will check that.
I'm not questioning the minutes, I'm just questioning whether or not the motion was really $17.50 or $18.50.
Okay, so let's say we go back and we listen that it is in fact $17.50.
Then
then-
we keep the minutes as it is.
Right, but you would want to, as a board, correct that, right? As Catherine said.
It's
So
a
we won't
contractual,
know.
We'll have to make a motion at some point
Yeah,
to, if it was $17.50, to make it $18.50.
so I'll check that, and if that's the case, the next time the board meets, you can make that change.
I usually keep my notes from the last meeting and write on them. I had a little sticky note on there to purge, so that's exactly what I did last week.
On the second page, just above public input, the discussion of the census bureau. We just add something in there that that we cannot request because of signs that only because
Where, Catherine?
On the
Yeah, see
second
if you
page,
can get the microphone, because
on the second page of public input.
Okay.
I just wanted to add something that indicated that we denied it because the signs they want to put up are not allowed as per our zoning ordinance.
Yes, I can do that.
Otherwise, it looks like a
Right. But I did call her and speak to her directly and tell her that, while the board really supported that, it was like that slippery slope. And he had his own.
So we have under the public input in that long paragraph halfway down, there was a discussion of understanding the process of inspections done by the COE and the fire department. And then as you go along, the rest of the sentences refer to as a CEO.
Same letters.
chief executive
She,
officer.
she has extreme OCD. It's alphabetical order.
So,
Yeah, we'll fix that.
I'll bet this article.
Thank you.
Make a motion to accept the minutes of August 1st, 2019, as amended, as correct.
Sorry, I just have one correction too. On the first page under call to order, there's an extra word absent. Just remove that. On the first page under call to order.
All my motions.
Second.
motion and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? So moved unanimously. Okay, next thing we have on the agenda was the August 8th.
I have a suggested correction under the Police Building Study Committee, line 3, where it says most qualified contractor. Probably it should say best fit, the best fit for the town, because that was the discussion, right?
Yep, I agree. Best suited to the town.
Okay.
I totally agree with that. Yep. Whatever, however you want to do it.
Okay.
Motion to accept the minutes of August 6th, 2019, as amended, as correct.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Unanimous. Madam Chair. Okay, the next thing we have here we have a very generous donation from the Franklin Savings Bank, which our town administrator is very instrumental in pursuing and getting this done. It's for Tilton and Bloom, which
Nice.
next, this fall, we'll be planting 1,869 bulbs around town. So, it's gonna be quite the undertaking, and we're gonna do it. And we're not gonna have the public works have to do it all. We're gonna have all volunteers.
Kevin
So-
said, "Phew."
This fall, stay tuned, and we'll have a bulb planting party, and these will be daffodils.
Well, we talked about tulips.
Probably spring next year.
Yes, I think ultimately because there was some discussion about the fact that the deer might go after the
Deer
tulip.
and mice and
Yeah.
tulips. So we're working out the exact bulbs, but this next spring, stay tuned and
Yes.
do that. So,
Mr. Chairman, while we're talking about flowers, can I just take 2 seconds of the board's time? I want to thank Catherine Dawson, Selectman Dawson, for the lovely trough out here. Every year she does this, every year, and I know she's going to get embarrassed by this, but I go by there every single morning and I smile. It makes my day. It is absolutely gorgeous. And so kudos to you for keeping that up every single year. It is absolutely gorgeous this year. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Thank you.
But Helen Hanks helps.
And I saw a couple of kids out there once in a while too.
Sometimes, yes.
And the minions. Yeah, but thank you. It really means a lot, and I don't think a lot of people realize that how many hours you do spend out there.
It does look amazing.
Right.
I've never been hit by a car.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, at least not right out there.
they wouldn't dare.
I have come into Public Works gave me, I have a vest that fire department gave me. I haven't found a vest. But thank you, yes. It's a joy.
So I'm going to make a motion that we accept the donation of $900 from Franklin Savings Bank towards the Tilton and Bloom. We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. And the next thing we have is Kevin Watt. Who's had an extremely busy week. Everything's going on.
You've got a pretty busy summer. Sidewalk looks great.
Sidewalks look wonderful.
I heard
Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous. Yep. Well executed too, to be well within the businesses and respectful. It was really done nicely. Mhm. Yeah, put the mic down towards you.
Hi there. What I just handed out was part of the transfer station numbers that I did some work on. I only picked 2 entities to work with. If I picked all of them, we'd be here for quite a while. And I don't know, a short time. So it's to see it on paper, it's actually quite informative to see just how much money we're losing just on those 2 entities. Yeah, $6,670 that we're not recouping because we're not charging them.
I'd rather pay that than have us have to go pick it up on the roadside and still have to pay for it, which is what happens when you get rid of some of these programs.
What's happened in the past?
Okay.
You see stuff the week after amnesty, it gets thrown on the side of the road. If you don't have amnesty,
Well, I'd like to entertain the coupon program a little further. I think that would be a a good avenue to take. In this packet, I also have a picture of the original sign that we had from 2004. And in the small print there, at one time, we did charge a small fee for individual items, which hasn't been enforced. I wanted to point that out. It's been kind of lost to the wayside, I believe, after numerous directors changing hands and that sort.
Which sign? This sign here?
Yeah, that's a picture of the sign that's posted at the transfer station. And
So like toilet sinks was $45 a cubic yard?
that's part of the demo, which is the $45 a cubic yard. But if you just bring in the toilet or a sink individually,
They're $5 each?
$5 each.
And nobody's been charging that?
Nobody's been charging that. So that was one of the things I noticed when I started researching this.
Wouldn't that recoup some of it?
It would definitely recoup some, absolutely.
Okay.
And then the last page of that is, I reached out to a neighboring town and did a comparison as far as what we charge compared to what they charge. Some of those numbers are pretty drastic.
They run one or two gentlemen at Northfield.
I believe they run two.
Okay, so.
They've got things like balers and stuff like that that you should be able to. It's
It's a little more involved, yeah.
Yeah.
They're also open 8 to 3 Tuesdays and Saturdays to accept it.
This is, I guess I would say this is just the beginning of this process. And just, we have some thinking to do and some changes to make. What those changes are, I'm not quite sure yet. That's why I'm in favor of the committee to be established so we can start deciding some of these things.
Are there any other communities around us that have fees such as these, like Belmont or Sandwich?
Yes, they're all comparable to them.
Do you have that information?
I don't, not with me. I didn't want to overwhelm you with
No,
too
no,
much,
no.
but I do have that. I can present it.
It'd be nice to see what they have.
And
To
some
compare.
other communities even fine tune their recycling more so than we do, as far as separating everything out. Because some of these commodities actually pay the town money. Where zero sort, and somebody takes it all away, we can't recoup any funds because we're not separating it out. So there's some other avenues that I'd like to entertain for the future as well.
The zero sort. Non-zero
Steering away from
sort.
zero sort, yes. I know glass adds tonnage that's costly for us to get rid of, but on the other hand, there are uses for it that won't cost us anything. I believe there's a plant in New London that will actually take it and pulverize it and recycles it into roadsides or roadbeds or things of that nature.
So,
Isn't silica one of the big ingredients in glass? Let's grind it up.
it's also what causes a lot of lung ailments from different type of construction. Silica dust.
Silk is very good for them.
So, the next step in this process is you'd like us to form a committee?
I would like to form a committee. That's correct. And then we could gather all of this information, then make some informed decisions on how to proceed forward with transfer station prices to recoup, to make it a little more balanced. I mean, I understand wanting to provide the residents with a way to get rid of their trash without having to find it on the side of the road. But there's got to be a happy medium there where it's not costing us an exuberant amount of money to handle this stuff. We're not passing it along to the resident. They're generating this trash. It's really up to them. It's their responsibility to take care of it properly. And if they have to pay to get rid of it, then that's a certain amount of money, then that's what we need to start enforcing.
But as devil's advocate, if I'm a taxpayer and I'm willing to pay that extra so I can do that twice a year, that's where I think whatever plan comes forward best go before the voting body.
Sure.
But you're also proposing that in lieu of having 2 events in the spring and fall, we have coupons. So that instead of being limited to just bringing
Exactly, we could do
mattresses and
it,
TV in the spring,
we could do it year round.
I can do it year round.
That's
and then
correct.
I get these coupons. That's an interesting program.
There is,
I like that, because right now I haven't stopped. I wish I could.
Hopefully we look at the labor involved, because now you're going to have to man that, I think, more hours if you're going to do.
It's very interesting, yes.
You look at Northfield and they've got, 14 hours a week they're open.
yes. But if it gets to that point, I would look at people's rate of pay. Like, I wouldn't put my top paid guy, foreman, watching the transfer station. I would have 2 guys paid a decent wage to do the responsibilities of the transfer station. I wouldn't necessarily assign that duty to my foreman.
So this is really the thing you're looking to implement for next year. We still have volumes this year.
After giving it some thought, no. Peter brought up a good point of putting it to the voting body as well and getting some input from them. So,
What do you see the committee made up of? Who would make up this committee?
I would like to see a selectman, a couple of residents, a representative from DPW, and really anybody else that would show interest in
So like a 5-member board?
yeah. I think that would be good.
That reports to the selectmen, like 6 months from now, or town meeting, whatever.
Sure, whatever we would find out, or whatever we would come up with a plan, we would present it, whether it be to the selectmen and then to the voting body, or present it to the residents and see what we can come up with. I know it's definitely something that I want everybody to feel good about.
Well, you've got some convincing to do for me, so committee researching the information would probably be the start. That would be a good thing.
I can go further into analyzing man hours during Amnesty Week, because I did calculate those hours this past Amnesty Week. I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, so I'm not going to tell you now. But they were eye-opening for the overtime hours committed to that week alone. Not to mention the amount of money in the tipping fees and the transport fees for the dumpsters. Everything rolled up. It was a pretty expensive week.
But if you put
Close
that,
year.
if you put that, spread that out, and then you're adding hours to the transfer station because now you have coupons, and now you have people that are bringing things instead of Amnesty. Now you're bringing them, let's say, 8 to 3 instead of 9 to 1 on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Yeah.
Now you're adding hours, so you have to take away from that overtime that you used on Amnesty only and spread it over wages every week during the year. So,
But if the
I mean, that
coupons-
offsets it.
Sorry, if the coupons spread it over, a year, maybe a year from Saturdays and Wednesdays, right?
Yeah.
You shouldn't have that influx that we experienced during Amnesty.
You may have more because a lot of people couldn't make it on the amnesty week because they weren't ready for it, or they were away that week
Right.
and couldn't do it.
But, yeah, that'd be interesting to look at, isn't it? Yeah, it's interesting.
How does Northfield issue the tickets? Property owner? Car owner?
I do not know.
Because you've got to be careful because people get disadvantaged.
So that would be something that the committee would look at, so we need to, so I would say, I would make a motion to create a committee
Okay.
to look into Town of Tilton recycling issues, just say issues, because it's a plethora of different things that go in.
Recycling/trash?
Yeah, recycling/trash issues.
I thought now would be a good time because in a couple of years, we're gonna be, our contract with Bernard is gonna be up. So I would like to have our ducks in a row.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Second.
I agree with you.
Good thing.
Motion? Any further discussion?
So that committee would be made up of the selectmen, sort of ex officio, and then you residents, and a DPW representative, or a couple, whatever. So like a 5 or 7 person board. Just to clarify, just wanted to re-clarify.
Very good. Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? None?
So who on the
Unanimous.
so who on the select board want to join Kevin?
I would love to.
I was gonna suggest somebody from the recycling.
I'm the only one.
Who's the only one? We got you anyway.
Yeah, okay. Now we will be meeting about recycling and trash.
So, Joe?
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe.
So, Joe?
This is the first time.
Look at that.
So,
So-
I'll split a non-public personnel. Must be before you do that, you need to give synopsis. What's going on with the downtown?
Sure. Yeah, the big one is the sidewalks are almost done. Some cleanup and touch up to do with the crew along the edges around the trees and things of that nature to really dress it up and complete it. Other than that, everything else is going well. The Cedar Street project is going a little slower because they've been hitting ledge. But I'm actually impressed that they were actually taking the time to bring their water lines to depth. Because I've seen too many companies in the past with my other endeavors that would cheat a foot, 3 feet, whatever, just enough to get it in the ground and then continue on. They're actually taking the time to make it right. We did have a little mishap with the gas line, but the gas company was there right away and took care of it, no issues. Continued progress as planned, so that was good to see. I did talk to John with the water department today. They're going to start doing the new offsets to their supplies to the residents. And once they go through and do that, my foreman and the crew are going to be up there installing catch basins and drainage for the rainwater runoff. We've already picked our locations to install the catch basins, and so as soon as we get the green light from John and the water department, we'll be up there installing that. And I told my foreman after we're done with that, he's taking 2 weeks off mandatory for a break. He needs to go. He needs to get some downtime. The guys have been working really hard this year, so I want him to take his time and rejuvenate his batteries, kind of a thing. So yeah, everything is going well. We had some work done in Salmon Run. The Conservation Committee had some trees cut. I was working with Chuck Mitchell. We're going to be, the crew on our slow days are going to go down there and remove all the brush, bring it up to DPW so that we can burn it when it's raining. So that's coordinating very nicely. Everything else is going very well.
The catch basins on Cedar, you said you were putting in some new ones? Where are they draining to?
They drain to Winter Street. In fact, there's one catch basin on the corner of Cedar and Winter that's actually plugged up. That's a state responsibility. I had to bring it to their attention yesterday. They're supposed to take care of it ASAP. There's one about 50 feet up on Cedar that was connected to it. That was the only one located on Cedar Street. So we're adding two more. So there'll be three altogether on Cedar Street to handle all the rain runoff storm drains.
And just going off from Maple Court,
Maple
ends
Court.
up in the driveway.
Yeah, so all that's going to be alleviated.
Are they gonna be oil water separated catch basins because those drains go intersected? I can show you where it drains.
Okay. Sure.
I know they're more expensive, but at some point, we do
Oil,
have to
water,
start
septic.
doing something to protect our natural
Oil,
resources.
Yeah.
did you say oil, water separated?
Okay.
And I know there's a maintenance to them.
Sure. That's actually the first I've heard of it, so I'll have to do some checking, and if I have to exchange the ones I already have, then I'll do that.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, no, I'm glad you brought it up, yeah.
But they were all
No, most of our drains were put in decades ago before
no,
that.
no, new ones don't need.
No, only if the planning board requires it. It's not mandatory.
No, that's good information to have, so thank you for that.
The utilities on Cedar Street, gas and,
Sure.
the sewer's not running any lines, we're putting in a catch basin. There was a private line that went in.
Yep.
But the water and the gas, are they going to provide us with any kind of schematic that shows where exactly their
Yes.
lines are?
Yes.
Because we didn't know where our lines were, like sewers been.
It'll be on a napkin.
Yeah, sewers
Yeah,
been
sure.
hit. So the town sewer line was hit once, a private, new private line was hit.
Mhm.
Because we didn't have anything, so.
Oh, okay.
No mapping that shows where it's at.
Um,
So we
Since you
should
brought
know
up-
the depths and.
Since you brought up mapping, I was going through the archives at the DPW. I actually found maps from the 1930s. I was curious if you wanted to have them on display somewhere. They're quite interesting. Catch basins and sewer
And sewer?
from the 1930s.
I think that predates sewer. That would be very good information to the sewer department to have.
For the older ones, right?
Like showing the line going to the river?
There are many.
Yeah, it's like scanning it
That
in.
would be great for you to bring up, Gina.
Yes.
I love old maps.
The fleet is all in good shape. Started doing my state inspections on the police cruisers, so everything's in good shape. So, No, I've spent some time buttoning up some little minor things here and there. We've got some, obviously the wall separating the break room. I just have some wood trim to put up.
You look like you're being, you've got a spotlight right in your eyes. Tell us what you have.
Slide one way or the other. Are the doors, have they been redone?
Those are on my to-do list.
Okay, no, I just.
No, they are definitely on my
That's
to-do
one
list.
of those odds in there.
You don't want to do them in August anyway, you want to do them in,
September.
right.
Yes, weather,
You really don't want the sun, do them and then the sun beating on them.
yeah.
First of November, and that's overcast
No,
day.
you want to do them in like a September, October.
Nice dry day.
Okay, so, let's see, we have some non-public personnel. So we have a guest here. I don't know if you had anything that you want to talk to us about? What will be done, we're predicting? Yeah, we're predicting on 6.
Jacob, when you go down, can you turn it on? Just turn it on now.
Yes.
Thanks.
/C. Cover yourself.
I'm going to make a motion that we go into non-public personnel. As we're going to look at for RSA 91A:3, paragraph 2A and/or C, which is personnel.
Second. Constantino.
Roll call vote.
Constantino, yes.
Dawson, yes.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Scanlon, yes.
We are ready to run. I'll turn the sign.
Thank you. John, this is,
Oh, yes. So we had Selectmen's report scheduled for 6:15.
John?
And we have 6:30 for Jesse.
Make a motion that we seal the minutes of the non-public as they pertain to personnel permanently.
Second.
Motion and second to seal the minutes of the non-public. Goes downstairs. All those, just looking on the phone. Joe, we have a motion to seal the minutes of the personnel non-public, and we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. And the next thing we had selectmen's reports, and we have Jesse at 6:30. Is Jesse downstairs?
Jesse is
And we have town
downstairs.
administrative report at 6.
We're running a little bit behind.
Half hour. We'll take, so, we could do Jesse. Okay, so we're running a little bit behind we schedule. So our agenda items. Okay, we're gonna get you waiting there.
Nothing.
This is something great.
Okay.
It's not that you're saying
We don't agree, bro. We solve them usually.
So I'm just giving you two copies, but two copies of the town ordinance. We have the original one that's online. The first one with all the red that's all scratched out with the line through it. That's all the stuff that I took out, fixed, recommend changing, rewording, etc. And so the second copy is the copy with the changes, so that it's written nicely. And you don't have to vote on this tonight. This was just to show you what I came up with. And I know that you're trying to read, but a lot of the stuff is just a lot of grammatical changes really and word changes, except for in the last paragraph, that's where I start talking about the fees that we had agreed on the last time, just to say that there can be a stoppage of the work and what the fine amounts are going to be for the first, second, and then going into third and any subsequent violations thereafter. So there's really not a ton of changes.
I have a question.
Sure.
So, where it begins, in addition to the conditions enumerated above, you eliminated and/or put or the chief of police into discretion. So, in that scenario, who overrules?
So the reason why I took out the word "and" in that is because it can be either one. So nobody overrules. It's just that either one of them can do it.
Right, so, I might think, yeah, I'll go with public works director this one.
He's easier.
He's easier. He's gonna sit and describe to him the condition and the take place. And he says, yeah, you don't need one. And then the
So if the
chief
word,
of police probably has more safety experience with road and details. I'd say, whoa, wait a minute. Come upon the job site and say, you need a detail. Don't we have to give somebody top.
well, I don't think that the word "and" is going to create any more authority for one over the other.
No, remove Director of Public Works. Do that.
I mean, to be honest with you, from my perspective, since it's talking about shutting down roads and things like that, I really think it should be the chief of police who makes that
Yes.
determination anyways,
Yeah, oh,
and not the
definitely.
director of public works.
Well,
So I can amend that as well.
that's only two. Four to seven.
Well, you guys had it pretty much worked out.
I didn't forget it.
Yeah, that's chief of police come first and then say everything.
What you could do as chief of police or his designate,
Yeah.
someone else in the department.
Nothing that's particularly better. Yeah.
Okay, so it's down.
So you want us to read this over and consider these changes?
That would be good.
You're doing nice to ignore it, right?
I would not like these changes.
Oh, I see. So the second copy, you took all the red out?
Yes, yeah, so the second copy I provided, just to make it more clear, I took out all of the changes that I made, just so that it would show how it would be written on the website.
Come on.
Is that it?
That is it. Told you, pretty easy.
Good job, Jesse.
Now we're back up to
I wouldn't say that.
closing anyway. Second.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thanks, yeah.
Do we have
We don't have to vote for you to make it proposed change. We haven't approved it.
Okay, so we've got a little bit of time, 23 minutes. We could do,
Do you want me to do mine? I'll go really quick.
we could do other business or administrative report real quick.
Yep. Just don't ask me any questions and.
Tons, so quick.
So-
We're going to administrative report.
I know, I got tons of questions. on
So,
administrative.
under the action items, goal-setting session, just a reminder, with Primex is scheduled for 4:45 on August 29th. And I've got your homework. If you could take a look at that, and it's got your name on it. Take a look at it and work on that prior to the meeting, that would be helpful. The Winnipesaukee River Trail.
I'm listening.
The Winnipesaukee River Trail Association would like permission to hang their annual Taste of the Trail sign on the island fence.
Yes,
When is there,
It will be after the music series, though.
In October, isn't it?
scheduled?
it's October, right?
The
Do you
date.
want to have it now?
No, after. They're just getting ahead of it, just asking for permission. They'll hang it up after the islands, the concerts are over. So when it's the
That's the
time?
end of August, right?
Yeah.
So the problem is when they hang it up so early, it starts looking really shabby and nobody fixes it. So does it really need to be up 5 or 6 weeks before the event? Or could we say you put it up 3 weeks before? 3 weeks?
3
4
weeks?
before the event?
4 weeks?
4 weeks?
Okay.
4 weeks, I'm good.
Would we ask
4 weeks
them to,
consensus.
Make sure, yes.
No.
Okay, is that, can somebody vote on
Consensus.
that? Or are you just a
Make a motion
consensus?
to allow them to hang the banner for the Taste of the Trail 4 weeks before, prior to the actual event.
second,
Motion second, all those in, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
So
So
we
moved.
need to have someone come in every time to ask the board of selectmen to hang something, to give permission.
I would like
Yeah.
to continue to have them
Yeah.
ask what's up on it.
So, I sent you via email the electronic version of the letter of agreement from Milestone Engineering and Construction for the construction management of the police station. I sent it to Primex for review. Tim and I are also looking at it. And I had one selectman mention perhaps we should have an attorney look at that. I'm happy to do that. I wanted to get,
No, it wasn't
no, it
me.
wasn't, wanted to get your authorization if you want that to happen. I would ask John Radigan to do it because he's been involved with the whole diocese purchase. So, not that that has anything to do with Milestone Engineering, but
are we gonna ask them for any cover?
yes, I already have. So, would you
So
like
moved.
it?
Do we know what it's gonna cost?
I will find out. I don't know.
A couple of-
I want, before I even called him, I wanted to ask. I have a motion.
We have a motion, do we have a second, or do we want to make the
What was
motion
the
first?
motion?
Have John Radigan look at the Milestone Engineering and Construction Agreement.
I'll second it, well, before I second it for discussion, at a reasonable fee,
What's that?
at a reasonable fee?
At a reasonable fee.
Still rather arbitrary.
Well,
Reasonable for a lawyer?
I know.
So what is the motion?
Assuming she's gonna
She's
determine
gonna-
it's reasonable, put her feet to the irons.
Thank you.
The motion now is,
Up to Jeannie now.
So, discussion.
So what I will do, if you authorize me to do that, is I will call John Radigan and ask him what he would expect a review like this would cost of this contract. And then when he gives me that information, I will let you know.
Oh, and then it delays it.
I understand.
No, we don't want to delay it.
Depending
No,
on the cost, we may want to delay.
no, we do not want to delay this, folks. We do not want to delay this.
I expect to have an answer for you.
Under
on
$1,000.
this 29th.
It shouldn't be more than 300, 400.
Under $500. Put a cap on it. Because we don't want to delay this. This is really important.
You know, this
We-
isn't that complicated of a.
No, it's not.
So if you don't, I mean, our insurance company's gonna look at it, so, I'm sorry. go ahead.
It's not that complicated,
Should be a
but
couple $100.
there's a lot of stuff that needs to be addressed in it, and this is just one. I only started this one. I mean, the cover letter was enough to make me choke. But Tim is very experienced with these AIA boilerplate contracts.
I just got my copy tonight, so I haven't looked at it yet.
I don't know.
Do you want to cap it at 500, Catherine? Or reasonably, therefore, around that?
Okay, fine.
Let Jeannie make the decision.
okay, so can you repeat the motion?
Which one?
That's-
to contract John Radigan to look at the Milestone Engineering and Construction Letter of Agreement. And Jeannie's going to contact him about the price within reason. She's going to go ahead and make a decision for the board.
And is that the second?
Sure.
Still stands? Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Within reason is too arbitrary. She just said 500, I would have gone.
So it was, motion
Passed.
passed, 3-2.
Didn't you say not to exceed 500?
No,
Okay, so the next thing on your
that's
administrator's
why we would
report?
know.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey,
This-
I changed my vote to no.
Well, why are you on to the next topic?
do that.
Give you, so the chief is supposed to give his report at 6:45. He's not here, so I'll continue.
There he is.
Is he?
We're behind you.
He may be little, but he's hefty.
You want to give your report?
We can go back.
I
We
didn't
can go
hear.
back, we can go back at it.
I didn't hear.
We'll go back.
Okay, so you presented your vote, so it's a vote.
No way.
3-2, yeah.
That's right.
So we want to, we're going to do this right after?
Sure.
Okay. Anyway, chief, welcome aboard.
Good evening, everyone. So I sent out the report. The report was probably one of the busiest ones we've had in a while. We've been straight out the last couple of weeks for a variety of reasons. Just not necessarily calls for service are about the same, but just the types of things I've seen in the last couple of weeks. And obviously, some of the cases they've been working on for months and even over a year came to a point this past week where we were actually able to serve warrants on some houses. And these are houses that have been selling to other dealers, so they're that next level up. So it involved over a year of investigation on one of them. And so patrol assisted with that. They knew that they had to do a search warrant on a house, the property around the house, and also a vehicle. And so it took pretty much all hands on deck that night to do it. There were a lot of weapons involved, and obviously when you're looking at someone that serious, anything could happen, and obviously they could certainly resist, and we saw that in Philadelphia. So we wanted to make sure everything went good. It did. They obviously, my hat's off to them, because I think they stopped a huge influx of meth into the Lakes region, with 3 pounds of meth in one day. This guy only sold to other dealers, so he was very busy, and it's going to be a big federal case. So between that and some of the other sales cases they were working on, another one on Caleb Hill, they were able to do some warrants there, and then indicted several this week as well on a variety of charges. They've actually solved a couple of burglaries, and you'll see in the report 2 folks were indicted for felony burglary. Those are residential and commercial businesses, and then obviously some fraudulent credit card cases. Detective Rideout's been also working on some senior fraud cases. They're still falling victim to some of these international scams, and those cases are time consuming. Doing search warrants with social media like Facebook, tracking down IPs in other countries. But he's been doing it, and one of the cases led us back to Russia, and so they're bigger than you think. And when you sit down with detectives, it's amazing some of the stuff they're working on. But they're doing a great job, and so and I brought Jess up just because it's rare that I have him in a meeting with me, just to he can share from his perspective the amount of work that's coming down to the court from patrol and detectives, and kind of what you're seeing, Jess.
So especially over the last probably 8 to 9 months, the caseload at Tilton PD has been higher than I think it's ever been. This year we have more calls for service at this point in the year than we ever have before. I can tell you that there's a number of towns that prosecute at the Franklin District Court. Tilton is by far the agency that carries the largest caseload at Franklin District Court. I have the most amount of cases. And it's really actually enjoyable for me at this point because patrol is working really hard to get out there. Not only are they going to the calls for service, but they have self-initiated calls. They've been finding people, they've been stopping crimes before they happen. A lot of motor vehicle stops that have led to different types of arrests. And the detectives as well, like the chief said, they've been working some pretty high-profile cases, things that are coming together after more than a year of investigation, which is great because they seem very excited to do this, which then excites the supervisors. So by the time the cases get to me, and I'm the last person in the chain that gets them, but they're very well put together, and we're able to go to court and have some type of resolution to these cases. And it makes my job a lot easier, but certainly we are busier than we have ever been, I think. Yeah, DWIs are definitely on the upswing. This year and late last year, we've had more DWI cases than I've ever seen as well. There's a lot of DWIs that are related to drugs. It's not as much alcohol DWIs. And that's both illegal drugs as well as prescription medication DWIs. So I'm currently in the middle of a trial that had to stop for a prescription medication DWI. So we have like a vast array of different types of DWIs that are coming through here, but certainly the drugs are more prevalent, which I think as far as the opioid crisis and the drug crisis that we're seeing across the country, it certainly hits home, and it's right here in Tilton as well.
I gotta ask, right here, it has been alleged by some that the Tilton Police Department will give people warnings when it comes to DWI. Now, do the officers have the latitude to give you a pat on the back and say, oh, I know that you're a good guy and you could go on your way? Does that happen?
I don't think that it does. I have never seen a case where somebody seems to be impaired and we haven't made an arrest for DWI. The cases all get passed to me unless it's a felony DWI, which are pretty rare. So I haven't seen any cases, and I can tell you that I take a hard position on DWIs. So unless there's something that's a glaring mistake by an officer, our DWIs are not getting pled out to anything less than a DWI at court.
But if they're passing them back, there wouldn't be cases, because they'd just be going on the ground.
That's what I was asking the chief.
There still would be a call for service, because if an officer goes out and they say that they're making a motor vehicle stop, then that's going to be a record anyways.
And does it say in that call to service why they're stopping them?
Yes, so when they...
Some indication, okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Catherine, I'd never know. Remember, I've asked to see calls for service.
Oh, that's right. Yes, we both have. Both did. But so when they do call in, I'm going to stop this car, they tell you why. And that's
Correct.
right. Don't give it, just,
You know why it stops you tonight? And they always start with that right out of the gate. You know why it stops you?
I don't understand.
Not that I know that personally, I've heard that that's how they start.
But our office is still strict.
Well, and I would also just like to point out too that I think it would be awfully difficult nowadays to just give somebody a pat on the back, because we have the body-worn cameras, and the police officers know that, and so they wear them, they use them appropriately on their shifts. I use them to help me in the prosecution of cases. So if you have somebody on the body-worn camera who is clearly impaired and they're just getting a pat on the back, which, like I said, I have not seen that happen, but it would be evident based on the body camera surveillance that we have that supervisors also review.
And we're using those body cameras on all of our stops, right?
Correct.
I'm sure we do. day, especially with the crackerjack lawyers like we got. You're in a pretty good condition record, then.
I will say that it certainly outweighs the losses.
51%, all right.
A little better than this, a lot better than that. Okay, what else?
So, I think in there, I would help with the office hours. Obviously, the cars are busy, but always, probably.
So speaking of Mike,
all the time, and so unfortunately we have several details actually going on right now tonight, and those officers wanted to be here but they can't, and there are details that have to be filled. And then obviously we have some other stuff coming up. We just did a training for Tanger Outlets on how to deal with employees that may have a substance use disorder, and signs and symptoms to look for, how to get them help. We had Lakes Region Recovery come and partner with us on the training, and then also Nate covered, Detective Buffington covered some things to look out for as far as handling of it. If you find powder in the men's room, in the employee men's room, don't pick it up, call us, we'll be right down, those kind of things, needles, that sort of stuff. It was something that Tanger Management has been asking for a while to do, and it was well received by all the employees there. They thought it was good. And then we have our last movie in the park coming up the 23rd, and probably our last copy of the cop for the summertime anyway, on August 21st. And at Dunkin' Donuts, West Main. And I think that's about it. That's a 10 to 11. 10 to 11.
I think I got all the information.
And that's about it. Just they're busy and doing a great job.
Any other questions from Randy Selectmen?
Are they still finding time to patrol the street?
Somehow they've been calling off down there and doing their directed patrols. They're squeaking them in there, but it's been tough the last week, I can say that. Last week there was more of them. But what they're doing is not just walking Main, they're walking the island, they're walking Riverfront Park. Yeah, they're kind of combining it, and you can see it in the log that they're doing it, so.
So another thing that they're doing too, which I know has been a concern before, is the parking and the parking violations. And so one of the things that has been implemented recently too is generally people have 7 days to pay their parking ticket, but then what happens when they don't? And so we've crossed that bridge recently. We've implemented a policy, so there is a town ordinance, and that adds the $15 on top of, I think it's $15 on top of whatever the original citation was. So there are better ways to track this, and I will be bringing those to court and prosecuting them as well.
Nice.
One of the things I was concerned with when Jesse brought up the detail thing was we were increasing the fines for it, but however, we've never issued a fine for anybody that has operated a detail, operated without a detail that should have. They should have to get that fine as well as hire that. So I'd like to see that, if we do catch somebody, they do get the fine. No warnings, everybody knows, all the utility companies, especially.
And when they pull the permits, they're told that they have to get a detail, and it's a town ordinance, so you
Then they
comfortable
should
with
get the
that?
fine.
No warnings, they get the fine, and they still have to hire the detail, so now. And we also made some changes to that, you will hear. So it would no longer be just the Public Works Department. It's going to be totally up to you or your designee. We haven't voted on the changes, but we'll take a look at that.
Okay.
That's it. It seems we have quite the gathering tonight. Is this a special occasion?
The most supporting officer is God.
Yes.
Look pretty friendly.
Yeah, I think we have a very special occasion here tonight and quite the gathering for it. Without much further ado, we'll have Joe do a swearing in, and we're going to motion to recess. We're going to keep it on the camera to attend to the swearing in of our new officer.
America's on the right of your face, left of your face.
We're facing it.
It's to your left of your face. He doesn't know what that means. Yeah.
You know, I say the chief has the taser, so you put it anywhere you want. And that's what I'm looking for next.
American flags on the left and
It's in the sign.
the right.
It might look like I'm just wandering around aimlessly, but I have a name. Okay. Catherine, do you want to sign this? Okay.
You got the black
Hold
hole.
on, I want to make this official here.
Black hole. John.
Wait, you're welcome. Okay.
Oh, this is an incredible turnout. This might be one of the biggest we've ever had. I haven't seen a crowd this big for swearing. I think they all should be like this. So, before we get into the actual swearing in, there's a lot of people that drove from far distances to be here. I know you did because I've been in contact. But before we even get there, let me back up a little bit. Tyler came to us in the selection process months ago. And when I first started to hear about him, he was doing an internship at State Police. And so the trooper that kind of recommended him to come to be and apply is here, Trooper Josh Boschman. So can I get a round of applause for Josh? Because he sent over a great guy, and Tyler's been doing ride-alongs and working around the PD with us for months. He's blown out of the water any test he's taken, and far exceeded any candidate that's ever walked through our door so far, as far as PT. So I don't know if I can help push him yet, or sit him yet, but he's been a great candidate to have around the PD. He's been really working hard to get this job. Behind the scenes, he's been working extremely hard for months to be standing here right now. So this is an incredible moment for both of us. So there's a lot of people here that I want to recognize, and when I say your name, if you could just please stand. Mother Demacia Espinoza, if you're here. Dad Craig Colford. And then Courtney Colford is here. Grandpa parents, Beth Platts, Robert Platts, you guys here? Oh, his Tyler's brothers and sisters, Alaya and Katie, you guys here? Uncle Louis Zapata, somewhere in the crowd. The girl who's probably been keeping him on schedule to get through this process, girlfriend Maggie Atkins. And then we have Kathy Atkins. Come on, we have Kathy. Oh, and stepsister Kara. Tyler says, are you there? And then we have Christine Conley. Did you make it up? I thought this is kind of cool. One of his bosses, Kieran Bryan, Michigan. And manager Chris Becker, somewhere with you. So one of the things that grabbed me about Tyler is, so, you know, he goes through the whole process, PT, push-ups, interviews, grueling ride-alongs with Abe, drilled by the sergeants, you know, he goes through all this stuff, and then at some point he makes it to my office and I get to meet him. And, you know, I said, tell me about yourself. And so, you know, he said that he kind of put himself through college and at QI to get his associate. He's been, you know, doing all kinds of things behind the scenes. But one of the things that struck me was he was working like 3 jobs to help pay the bills. And I thought that was pretty cool. And you had me when you said that. And he just seemed like, I think, the son that we all want. And so at that point I said, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, he's got it. And to have his bosses show up speaks a lot, I think. And so to you guys who've been working for you, thank you for sharing them with us. But you're not getting back. He's going to be busy for the next few months. But thank you, because I appreciate that. And I can imagine he was a great employee for you guys who worked together. And he worked for Royalty Car Wash. He's got family here from Nicaragua. And he enjoys outdoor exercise, bike flipping. He was born in Boston, Mass. So he went to Pinkerton Academy, and then, like I said, he graduated at NHUI with his associate professor. So he's just a great all-around candidate kid, and now a member of the Tilton Police Department family. And so, with that, I'd love to turn it over to Selectman Joe Jessica to make it official.
Whereas there is a vacancy for the position of police officer in the town of Tilton. And whereas let's start again. We, the subscribers, have confidence in your ability and integrity to perform the duties of said police officer. Do hereby appoint you, Tyler Colcord, as a police officer of the town of Tilton, New Hampshire. And whereas, upon you taking the oath of office and having the appointment and certificate of said oath of office recorded by the town of Tilton clerk, you shall have the powers to perform the duties and be subject to the liability of such position until another person shall be chosen and qualified in your stead. Here's where I go. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and impartially discharge. Now, let's do this together. Do solemnly
swear that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform the duties
keep going. Go on.
recommend in me as a police officer of the town of Tilton, New Hampshire, according to the best of my abilities, agreeably to the rules and regulations of the Constitution of the United States, and the laws of the state of New Hampshire, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Maggie, come on.
Okay, photo up.
Hold on. Kiss the clock.
The motions that you've been. If I could get first everyone from the department to come up for a quick picture with.
Ryan, over here. One more. Got it.
Can I have the board please come up? The board? Joe.
There you
Do
go.
you want me to do yours?
Yep.
You got it? I got you, Chief.
Thank you, thank you. Hey, John. John, Cal. Katie.
Joe, no hiding.
Okay, no, I'm gonna make sure he doesn't. Thank you, thank you. The whole
family members.
The
whole
Actually,
family.
you know what? I want everyone to come up because there's not been a bigger crowd. I want to get everybody.
All family.
Everybody.
Everyone, come on, friends, family.
Put Tyler right in the middle. There you go. And I have a wide lens, so this is all right.
Oh, jeez, Chief.
Come up from the back.
You gonna go up?
Absolutely.
Richard going up in the stage.
Buster, you're up there, come on. You want me to get the police after you? Come on, up there. Got cookies
Jump in the
after.
front of Tyler. Jump right in front of him.
You want to get up there, we'll give you a
Right in
cookie.
front of Tyler.
Come on.
Now that's a
That's the picture.
Ready? Everyone say Tyler. Arrest me.
Wow. I love it.
All
Thank you,
right.
everybody.
Nice job.
You deserve
Can we get
some
Tyler
coffee
high
up
five?
here.
Follow. Good job, you're a good man. Congrats.
Yeah, good job. Thank you so much. I'm glad you could be here.
Yeah.
So glad.
That is the most we've ever had. Oh, yeah. Yeah, nothing will ever top that. That's why I had to get a picture of it. I'm so glad. Everyone, your family would come in. It's kind of dwindled down a little bit.
Okay, next.
committee that does the inviting and anything. Tyler, you're in charge of inviting. Right, Joe? I said Tyler will be on that committee that invites people because he's good at it.
I'd say if he's good at it, that's great. Bring him on.
Yeah. Stay in touch with him. Come and do ride-alongs when he gets out. Yeah, because we do ride-alongs since they meet Tyler. Save me a ride-along. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he grabs everyone.
Yeah, I didn't tell him once you met him.
And he'll love the academy.
Oh, yeah, up and down, yeah.
Can we do videos on the ride-along?
I know.
I want to promote being a first responder. We have a youth center, so let's We'll do a little interview.
We'll have Tyler down.
That'll be fun.
You know what I encourage? Hey, they need you down there. Black and white.
Not the same.
No.
But it's good to see the community. We're our car wash is we're like right there. Yeah, we see them come and go all day long. So we try to stay behind them. And it's funny because we wash all the time. Every wash is their own. Well, they wash with their own, yeah. But London does, so we really connect well with them. We have everything. We have touchless, we have self-wash.
Those are nice.
Yeah, you can do anything you want. But we do all the tunnel wash. And actually, we're going to start they flip-flop, they have so they all do this on control, and they want to swap them out in 6 months. So they'll swap them out, they'll have a detail, swap the detail cars into control cars. Control went off. That's a good idea. Yeah, we've been Sean Good now. Maintenance guy. I don't know, how long have you been in there before?
I've been 12 years.
Okay. Because his dad, Sean Goodnow, passed away years ago of cancer, unexpected. So Sean they were all in yesterday because the president.
Oh yeah, get the car ready.
The chief was in his car and everything. I said, we'll give you a little extra shine.
Oh yeah.
We want you to stand up.
I get to stand.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, I just invited us up off the street and said, hey, can you come up here? I'm gonna make it look good. Oh, all right, yeah.
Oh, thank you for coming. Oh, it's great. Thank you. We miss it.
Yeah, I'll do it tonight. Does he work now? Does he have to work?
He's gonna go.
Yeah, well, actually, he has to pass his physical Monday. I said, really? I said, really? He said, well, if I trip and fall and break my ankle. I said, really? We were saying yesterday, well, I feel like yeah, well, it's just, not something else. I'm like, really? You're gonna break your toe and
I know the guy.
huh?
Good compliment.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. Oral. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's got the camera. I'm not even sure what's happening. Here, what's your number?
I've had one. I went up on you. Oh, yes, yeah.
That was so good. All right.
Just get one photo.
Congratulations, you must be very proud of you.
Said he looks like he was meant to be last year.
Yeah. Well, you know, yesterday, you know, that officer from Londonderry was like this
Macho one
really nice guy, too. We were meant to, girls are going to want to get arrested by you. Please arrest me, please.
Punch him in the face.
They call it
Right, well, let him decide.
Oh, that's right. Fire.
Oh, my. Take it down.
What is that? Oh, the camera?
Carolyn?
Congratulations. Nice to meet you. He's a celebrity now. Yeah, it all starts. Now I need all you guys to do your graduation. So, December 20th, graduation. Every Friday, in the afternoon. Yeah, usually it's like graduation's like in the afternoon on Friday, and then usually like after that, after graduation is done. But that'll be the next one. Then you'll have to share about 67 class, they call them, just like college, high school graduates. And if you were to everybody shakes off the administrators. It's cool. And usually family runs up and takes pictures, and then a lot of pictures after. It's a big deal. And if you guys all come to graduation, we'll have a load of guests at the graduation. Oh yeah. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, that's the most people. Right next to NETI. Right there. They have to live there. Yeah. So they come home weekend. Yeah, they get them up at 5 a.m. Oh yeah. Push-ups. It's good though. I mean, we're one of the few yeah, it's great. You know what it's called? You really can't be very friends for the rest of your life. It's like anything. We all talk to them. How was his? No. And you can see the rest of my crew is like that. You know, he's gonna fit because they're all just like him. You know, which is great. My entire department is like I don't want him personality, know how to smile and laugh. September 3rd. So he takes his final PT test on Monday. Most of the stress we've been testing. They'll take that on Monday. Once he passes that. Because unfortunately, it'll be about 75. They just don't prepare for it. That's all. You do what you do. That's what's up. 40% of the windshield is polished. You just got to do it. It's water use. I told him it did. Go right by it. That says a lot. Were you guys all sitting there? You our uniforms. It's yeah, so you get off River Road and then you go down to take a left and go up. Yes. You go up that hill and take a right. Like the top of that hill above it. Take that left and go in the very top. Yeah, we go in.
Once in a while. Good morning. We're over the chef over there? Folks, we're all going to retire downstairs for the meeting. Get back to their order of business. Thank you all so much for coming.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
See you later.
You got me that blue folder right there?
You're gonna have to arrest me.
Hey, Tyler, gotta grab some of these cookies to go. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to eat a bunch of them. All right.
You're doing too well.
Oh, is it? It's on right this second. Oh, is that? You're welcome. Okay, the camera is red. Red is run.
Okay, so
Text me that, or I'll text you.
that was great. What a turnout, you know?
Yeah.
That was terrific. So we're going to reconvene our meeting. Let's see, I think we had somebody wanted to reconsider that vote.
Yes.
So I guess we're going to do a motion to reconsider. So we can vote in the affirmative.
Motion to reconsider the vote that Pat Constantino made on the letter of construction, milestone construction, engineering.
What about sending the contract to the attorney?
What's your new motion?
And I'll second
We got
that
a
motion.
motion to reconsider first.
And I'll second that, the voting on affirmative. Discussion?
She seconded.
Okay.
On reconsider, did we vote?
Okay.
There's a motion and a second.
Any discussion on reconsideration? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Make
Have one
a,
opposed?
make a new motion to contact Attorney Radigan to have him look at the milestone engineering and construction letter of agreement, and have Jeannie contact Attorney
Also-
Radigan not to exceed what,
For the contracts.
engineering letter of agreement and contracts. That's right, there is, because there is contracts in here. All right, so my motion is to have Attorney Radigan, Jeannie, contact Attorney Radigan to have him look at the milestone engineering and construction letter of agreement and associated contracts, and assess the pricing not to exceed $500, and then go ahead with having him advise accordingly.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on that?
I have a discussion. We're talking about paying Bill Bradley $500 to go over a
Up to.
boilerplate contract. And we have an attorney on the payroll, and we have a guy in finance downstairs who is exceptional at contracts. We have a town administrator that is not a lawyer, thank goodness, but somebody who is very well versed in contracts and legal language. And gee whiz, I get to pay lawyers for something, especially they don't pay. That's my 2 cents.
But are they well versed in construction management contracts? And Jeannie's shaking her head no.
And I'm guessing that are they experts, and what is Joe Renigan an expert in construction management contracts specifically? Do you know that?
That's
I
why
know
she's
he's
gonna call and ask.
Heck of a lawyer, but the best lawyers out there are, okay, I'll shut my mouth because there's, yeah.
Okay, any other
But you
discussion?
make a good point about We had that until we wrote these AIA contracts.
We went over the other ones, and we had our insurance company,
Well, it's also gonna go.
right,
Probably using some kind of lawyer.
yes.
I'm just saying.
I'm inclined to agree with Joe.
But
I think it's premature to vote on it right now.
But see, I would say, let the people that we have working on this, go over the contract. Maybe even run it by our attorney, and see if there's any issues that we really need to pay $500.
Jeannie's asking us to give authorization, so
Well, and to be clear, the only reason I'm
I backed
asking
it up.
is because a selectman asked, were we gonna have an attorney look at this?
Oh.
And
So,
that's a valid question.
it
And
is,
I think I was the one that suggested that.
Valid question.
And-
I had several
At the last
times.
meeting when we were discussing.
and so, just as a reminder, the first contract, the AIA contract, we did have our insurance company look at, who is a lawyer. He did come back and make several suggestions, which Gary Goudreau made changes per the attorney. Tim looked at it, I looked at it. That's what you signed. That was the process for the last contract.
No Joe Bradley or anybody like
No.
that. No outside.
okay.
Some more,
Inclined to agree with
some more
Joe.
discussion? We ready? Ready, Pat?
I have nothing else. I was just trying to back Jeannie up on the suggestion, that's all.
Okay.
I'm
All-
fine with it, either way.
All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed? Nay.
Nay.
So not moved.
Nice.
All right,
It's
so
so not moving.
insurance, IT,
Yes,
Steve.
yes. So I will have Primex look at it, Tim will look at it, I'll look at it, and we'll come back to you. So the other item under action, I just wanted to give you an update on the Police Building Study Committee activities. The committee met this past Monday. They reviewed renderings and a floor plan. I've got these to pass them out. They're just examples. This is nothing final, but did want you to see kind of what they're looking at. Their next meeting is August 26th, and at the regular agenda, they're going to talk about tasks and timeline, and then come back to the select board to get approval on that, because if you recall, your letter to them, giving them their charge, asked for that. So that's what they're going to be doing on the 26th. Following that meeting, they would like to have a public forum to engage the community, to just get their input about where they're headed as a committee. So I just wanted to check in with you, give you an update, and see if you're okay with where they're going, and if you're okay with them hosting this public forum on August 26th.
I think the public forum is great.
At that public forum, are they going to, so like, my first question is, what am I looking at here, blog? Where? I mean, are they going to have more detail of what materials?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Nothing's been decided on building
No,
materials,
it's a conception.
Catherine. This
So
is just
this
conception.
just the-
Yeah, this is just a rendering that
the
Gary,
rendering, so I'm sure other people will look at this and go, is this block?
yeah. So there's 4 different designs if you look at it. So
Do we know where our committee is in that aspect?
In what
Well,
aspect?
They've got 4 options here. Are they
So-
leaning any directions?
what they're gonna do now is there's a small group going to meet with the construction manager, with Gary, the architect. And they're gonna go over a few items with Gary, I think next week. And this floor plan will kind of act as a, I guess, foundation, if you would. There's probably going to be a little bit of tweaking here and there, whatever. But it's going to act sort of kind of like a foundation as to, but until we know where we're gonna go with it, what it's gonna be built with, whether it's gonna be wood, whether it's gonna be brick, whether it's gonna be block, whether it's pricing, all of that. They'll come back with that in sometime in September, the end of September. And then that's when the committee says, oh, whoa, wait a minute, we gotta tweak this, we gotta do this, we gotta do this, because that's not, this is what we want. And then that's when the work begins. And so this is right here, these are 4 renderings that, am I saying this right? 4 renderings that Gary has given us for options. And trust me, we spent an awful lot of time just trying to decide which one that we liked and why we liked it, because if you choose one with an arch and it goes with the roof and this one goes with the pilings, and there's a lot of design that goes with it as well. So the decisions are not made. There's nothing that's been made whatsoever. These are just updates to the board to where we're at right now. How's that sound?
Good. I mean,
And we want to
Board of
update.
Selectmen obviously has the final say, but, you know, I'm looking at these and I'm looking at, so when you design for aesthetics, it's expensive. All these corners are
Yep.
expensive.
And then,
These hip roofs, at expense.
right,
Cupola, added expense.
added expense, right. And that was all pointed out to us on Monday night.
But yet all 4 proposals,
What do
No,
architects
some
do?
don't have a cupola, some do.
they all have,
They're all fancy, yeah, that's what the
No,
architects do
they're-
by trade.
They're just examples. This
This,
is not
right here, what you're looking at is sort of,
starting point.
some of what you're looking at is veneer.
I know what I'm looking at.
Okay.
I was in construction for 4 years.
So I guess what, not
I'm
a
saying
guess, I was looking to find out from the board if you were okay with them to have a public forum on the 26th.
Right.
Yes, and I
We
think
kinda
that's great to
want
keep the public
Public informed.
informed
Right.
as we go along, I think. I'm all for that.
I think we need to engage the public as much as possible with this, if it's going to be, if we want it to be successful. And as I said, last week, the week before, the Board of Selectmen should vote to authorize Tim to create a website for this, for, you know, any other,
Yeah,
like seating, et cetera.
I
as
think so
said
too,
before.
Catherine. I'm in agreement with that.
Second?
So we,
Shouldn't we have Tim tell them
Well,
what?
he already said he would.
I'd like to have Tim come before us and tell us what he.
But that's going to be another 2
No.
weeks.
yeah,
But if we don't start it now, we won't have anything for us to look at.
Right.
So we authorize him to put it together, and then we look and add, subtract, or whatever, and okay, post it.
This is what we want.
And we would like that too, because the construction managers will also allow us to put documents, update documents and so on, and update the public as well.
The construction.
Yeah, but are we looking
Allow
at-
us to update our documents?
Let me ask this, could I ask a question?
I said it wrong.
We're telling Tim to create a whole website, or are we asking him to have something, a link or page on
Website.
ours?
Website.
You know what that involves, right?
Yeah, very simple.
so some of the other projects, like Plastow, when they were building their police station, they had a website. I haven't looked at it, but it was a way to engage the community, you know, and it is a discussion you could have with Tim, but at least get him started on it, whether it's a link to another website or
A subpage of ours.
yes, a subpage of our website.
Easily accessible.
Yeah.
I feel Tilton talking, Jeff.
Whatever it is, well, we do
Tim
something
is
like
the
that.
expert.
So there was a motion and a second to direct Tim on,
Create something?
yes.
To create something for us to look at. And I would say that even more than that, to make recommendations about what is the best way to get the word out. Is it something on our television? Is it a separate page? Is it a Facebook? Is it Twitter? Is it a number of those things? Whatever he thinks. I'd like to know, because I want this to be better.
I think that the committee did have a discussion about Facebook, and there was a feeling that that's not a road we wanted to go down, that people might be able to get information from the Facebook that directed them to the website, but that there would not be any back and forth.
Good idea.
We also have the police committee, the study committee involved with this, so they,
Oh, yeah.
So-
And Tim's very much involved in that now, so.
Yeah, he comes to the meetings with us.
Aye.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved, unanimous.
Thank you. So the actual question that I had for you was the forum. Do I need a vote for that, or do we have consensus that they can have that forum? All right, good. On to the next one. True Green Chem Law and Accident.
Can I just, I'm sorry.
No, that's
We
okay.
don't do well getting information out as far as this is taking place. So I think the Board of Selectmen needs to help in that endeavor to publicize this public forum. Okay. As much as possible. I don't care if it's for paid ads in the newspaper. This is a huge project.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone showing up at town meeting and saying, well, I remember.
Are you in the 19th century?
So would you,
Newspaper.
well, people do
People
read
read
newspapers.
Every day, 3.
I can,
And you read all the ads and all that? If I read the paper, I'm not looking at the ads.
I read the public notices.
well, one of the
And it's
things,
funny, we
Okay, so let's
stay away
move
from
forward for how
Facebook,
we're
the
going to
one
do
that's
it.
going to reach the most. I don't get it.
well, I don't think, Peter, that we're staying away from Facebook. It's, they're being very specific about how Facebook is going to be used, and by that, that's where you'll get information, but there will not be any back and forth.
You can
because
shut
that
off
can-
commentaries to your.
Yep.
So-
And it's like we get nothing. I see stuff all the time out of Northfield. It's great with this update on public, would have been great with Public Works with this sidewalk project. You know, but we seem to say, no, we can't do that. Go to the town website. You put it on them instead of having it sent right to them. It pops up on their phone, on their,
It wasn't that long ago that the Board of Selectmen were anti-social media of any sort. When I was doing the recycling thing, I created a Tilton Recycling Facebook page. I'm a private citizen, I didn't put it out as being a town of Tilton thing, it's a Tilton Recycling. And did real well with it. And they asked recycling questions and stuff like that. So, but at the time, there seemed to be a hot button thing going on social
Fire
media.
District has a one for their building, right?
Hey, I'm all for it. Any way we can get the word out. Whatever the format takes, we can work it out.
So, is there direction to try to put an ad in the paper? Is that what you?
I don't want that. It's a waste of money.
I think, I was just using that as an example, but I'm saying, we should create posters, flyers.
Okay.
They should be posted all over town. A Facebook is a good one, because people
Catherine.
do use that media.
Catherine,
What?
is it warm enough that we might be able to use that variable message board? I know it freezes.
Yeah, and I've asked about that, so.
And it should be put up at least 10 days before the event,
It's
it's not
going up
2
to-
weeks.
It will go up tomorrow, once you guys approve it, I told them.
Well,
That's
we
great,
have
so.
a public hearing, don't we?
This is not a,
Customarily put an ad in the newspaper.
this is not a public hearing, it's a
It's
public
just a public
forum.
meeting.
I see.
It's just a guide, engage the public.
All right, good with that? True Green Chemlon accident update. I just wanted to give you an update where we're at. I've gotten some quotes for the, actually I say fence, but it's more of a railing, walkway, and the capstone retrieval. I'm waiting for a quote on some tree replacement. The DES has acknowledged receipt of the expedited wetlands permit, so now we're just waiting to hear back from them. My hope is that, in terms of process, that I'm gonna call them tomorrow and see where it's at, but that by September, they've said yes, and we can pull the capstones out of the water, get them placed, get the railing up, at the very least before the snow flies. If we could get the walkway done, great, but if not, we can wait till the spring on that. As I've been getting these quotes, I've been sending them to the True Green Insurance Company, and I'm starting to get a little pushback about what they're responsible for or what they'll take care of. And so I did talk with our insurance company, the general counsel, to give us some thoughts on that, and he said because we as a town are not taking ownership, that Primex can't really help us with this. So I guess what I'd like to get some direction from the board. I would like to, I know you're gonna hate this, Joe, but I'd like to talk to the attorney, or maybe it's Jesse, and I'm happy to talk to Jesse, but can we have an attorney send a pretty strong letter to these folks so they understand we mean business, and if they're not gonna step up and take care of this problem that they caused, that we're willing to litigate this.
I think that's a Jesse first step.
Yep.
First.
Yeah.
Well, if he's comfortable in addressing it, yes. Just
I
because
think-
I'm a lawyer, I'm not an expert in everything. So.
Absolutely right. Great letter.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And he did look at, Jesse did review the MOU, so, I'll run it by him. I just wanted to make sure you were all good with that. You saw the FYI, so I don't need to go over those. And then I just wanted to circle back. I was under the impression last week that we were not having a selectmen's meeting next week. What's that?
There was talk about not having it.
Right.
That wasn't on the ego.
Right.
Until the seventh business.
Okay, so I'd like to know, are we doing it or not? Because I thought we were not.
So you have a plan.
No, I don't have other,
Oh.
no, I don't, but.
She's
No,
hoping.
no, but I will tell you, what happened was, because I thought we weren't, I then sent an email out to town hall saying there will not be a selectmen's meeting on the 22nd, so we need, because there's been issues with coverage at town hall, so I wanted everyone to know as soon as I knew.
Good.
And then I got some feedback that, well, maybe we are having a selectmen's meeting, so that's where I'm going.
Well, I would like to back the town administrator and make a motion to suspend the selectmen's meeting for August 22nd, 2019.
Second. Do we have?
Second, and we have a motion, second. Discussion.
We can always do something, Captain.
We're talking to the,
Do we
Captain,
have some
Mike?
irons in the fire that we should meet? And I don't really know, that's a question for you.
I don't think there's not any, the only thing that I think is kind of important is this, signing this contract. And I don't think between now and next Thursday that it will have been reviewed in time for you all to be ready to sign off on it. So my thought is that I would bring that to you on the 29th, as well as I was hoping to have tonight the MS1 for you to sign off on, and you may have heard Avatar had some computer software issues that kind of messed them up. So I was supposed to have that tonight, that didn't happen, so you'll have that on the 29th. So, I mean, there's always things happening, but
So with Milestone, their letter of agreement that they're going to send us a new copy, and there's only a couple of things we need to change, I think that's as if we took a couple of weeks to take care of the contract. Because their letter of agreement is for pre-construction services specifically.
Right.
And I'm just asking. Which of those?
Well, yes, I mean, I think your question is would we be in a position next Thursday when we meet to sign off on that? Is that your question? I don't think I need to have Primex look at it. Tim's got.
Just the letter of agreement.
Oh, the letter of agreement. Well, and that, yeah, probably. But don't the two contracts go with it?
The letter of agreement has a place in the back for signage.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. If we just got this taken care of and sent it off to them and let them know we were working on the others, maybe that would, I'm saying, ease some time.
Yeah, I don't get a sense, and I can certainly follow up with them tomorrow, but they were ready to come to the first meeting without having a contract signed.
Yes.
I don't get the sense that they're hung up on that.
It's really quickly.
Right. Well, I can ask the question tomorrow. And if
So
that's,
unless there's some dire emergency thing that we can't put off, we will not have a meeting. That was what the motion was. Because at any time something comes up, we're gonna have to do it.
Circumstances could change.
And any other discussion on that? All those in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye. Unanimous.
Wanted to give you an update on the Tilton Northfield Island trees. I went out there today with chippers, Tim Berquist from Chippers. The one tree that you're talking about that to trim the branches, and it's the maple. He said it is in a very weakened condition, and the amount of work that it would take them to get up there and trim back those trees or those limbs, it's going to be a lot of work to do that. So you might as
Probably is taking it down.
later. Right, and I said to him, well, you know, if you cut down the branches, how much longer will this tree last? And he said maybe 5 years, but he said the tree is hit the drought of 3 years ago. He said just because I guess he comes by here and looks at those trees. He said the drought just did that, plus the fact that people walk up and around the tree and the roots, that tree's not in a good healthy position, and it is, he said, it is a danger right now. So
Maybe it's visibly a danger.
yes, and so he's going to give me an estimate, and he's going to give me his, written what he thinks about. Now there's another tree right next to it that has the military stuff on it. It's another maple, right where they cut off, and I guess
Yes.
chippers had done that.
Where they braced it.
Right.
Oh, the one with all the cabling?
Yes. And he said that one is not looking good either. He said, and it's leaning very much, to one side, that it's unbalanced. And he has some concerns about that as well. And he said, so he's writing up something on that too, and I'll bring that to you. But he said that when you replace the trees, that you should put them on the perimeter of the island, because that people are walking around the trees, and that's what's causing them distress. There's stomping on the roots. And then further, when you put a new tree in, that it should probably be an oak. He said the oaks look great on the island. It's the maples that are not doing well. And then you need to mulch around it, or put some smaller perennials or something so people don't walk up to the tree, so that the roots are protected. So he's just given some ideas of how to deal with that longevity in the future.
And he'll give us the recommendation we planted.
Yes. Yeah.
Blackberry and blackberries. Anything with prickers.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to have somebody that's an arborist that's not in the business of cutting trees down. Just look at it. Chippers?
No.
They're arborists.
He is one of 2 master arborists in the state.
Yep.
And he's actually the only certified,
Right.
registered.
They try to save them.
Yeah,
Parks has used them for years, which is why he knows the trees.
yeah.
Right, there are trees in a different park.
Just wanna make sure it's somebody that-
He's the one that cabled the tree
Yeah.
years ago
Yeah, to save them.
to save them.
You know what I'm saying?
I know, I see what you're saying. I thought of that.
It's good. Somebody come in that,
This is the guy we would call to
Yeah.
honor your request.
yeah.
I mean, quite frankly, if you said, oh, just turn it off, we'd know that.
Very good. Shippers doesn't sound like a
I
guy
know,
that's gonna save
it
the tree.
doesn't, it doesn't. So once I get that information back from him, and I'll bring it forward to the board.
Now, just out of curiosity, I'm gonna put out something here. With my knowledge of, I can't be a tree estimator, but considering other trees that we've had taken down and considering the location of this one and so forth and the equipment involved, we're talking about thousands of dollars here. Northfield owns half the island. I'd just like to throw that out.
Good luck collecting.
So ordinarily, we would split that bill to the town of North, but I don't see that happening.
But we should go through the
We
process.
can't
We
do it
should.
without their permission.
We have to have their permission, certainly, but we also have to raise the money ourselves.
It's a danger. You
I know.
can't expect, it's an unexpected danger.
But we should go through, just
Right.
like,
Yeah.
we should go through the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, and once I get that information, we will certainly do
Please send
that.
me the chipper's report, danger,
Yep.
falling objects, liability.
Right.
Northfield still owns half of this.
Right.
Maybe we should go to.
And that just brings to mind, when are we going to take possession of the object? Is there any kind of timeline on any of that?
Well, my hope is that that is resolved before next town meeting, because it's already been voted on, but the challenge has been finding the heirs and getting them to respond, because they're not. Now, before Joyce left, one of the things she did was in looking at the file, she had gotten Northfield to agree to pay half of the attorney fee, and she'd been talking to Patrick Wood about him doing what was necessary to get this thing moving. So, that for me would be the next step, is to follow up on that, to ask Northfield if they're still, because they apparently want to make this happen too. But if there hasn't been success in getting the heirs and so, to respond.
That
They
was
have to
the
respond.
problem right out of the gate, was the heirs
Yeah.
and the trust. And everybody has assured me along the way that this was not going to be a problem. Except for it seems, and it seemed wrong to me at the time, and it seems like it's a wrong thing, as it turns out, because it is a problem. You can't reach the heirs. Have you read that deed?
I have.
And you concerned on any level with the language of the revocation of the deed?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. I mean, just because what we've done relative to a town meeting, we have no authority. And in fact, in reading the information from the attorney, if anything at all, because Northfield at this point, in my opinion, has violated their part of the agreement, which means then it goes back to the heirs, which means that it's the town and the heirs who own it.
But according to Patrick Wood, it was just the opposite, that we didn't have to do, there was something
Well,
that
they
said.
said, they said you could go through the court process because of
Right.
being able to, but I'm not an attorney, so
Right.
failing that, you would go to the courts and say, look, we've made a good faith effort, we can't
Right.
resolve this, we would like to turn this over to Tilton, but it clearly says in the deed it would revert back to the heirs, so I don't know. So
That's the thing that gets me.
Yeah, he assured us that there would be not an issue.
Well, the attitude of the attorneys are, that was a civil case. the heirs really want to take it back and have the maintenance of it, the cost, and pay taxes
And
on
I'm
it.
guessing, no, they don't,
But
but,
it's a gamble.
So,
it's a
we-
gamble.
right now, we need to come to a decision. Do we want to proceed with an attorney and have the attorney take it over and Northfield pay 50% as they said before? Or we could stall and Northfield would still be responsible for 50% of the repairs and the upkeep of it.
But is it that simple, will Northfield insist on using the attorney that just said, well, just take it over and see what happens?
They have a legal opinion.
Well, he didn't really, at least in the documentation that I read, he didn't really say that. He said he would go to the courts
Yeah,
and say,
the previous attorney that Northfield had when we met with the town, the selectmen, their attorney said, oh, it's no problem, you just sign the deed and we're all set.
Yeah,
We were
no.
content.
That's what I
And
said.
that's
oh
when we
yeah,
said
no, this Patrick Wood in his letter says, the next step would be going to the court and explaining it, and the court may,
And did he represent us, Patrick?
he said he was gonna represent both.
He was the one we brought up.
I'm all set with going to the court process if you feel we've done due diligence, notifying the heirs. If we're done with that process, I'm okay with going to the next step and having Northfield, as long as it's Northfield paying half for us to go now go to court and plead our case.
So what I would do is then draft a letter to their town administrator or their select board from you, from me, however you want to do that, and say, we're following up, you've asked us where we're at, we're, the file says that you've agreed to Patrick Wood to pursue this on behalf of both towns, and that you're willing to pay half, and we just want you to sign off on this, and we'll get moving.
We'll send a subsequent letter letting them know about the trees,
Yes, I'll do that as well.
Yep. I'm in agreement.
like that.
Everybody?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so, and then the last thing I wanted to bring up is Catherine asked about the impact of the budget veto on our town budget. So I did,
I can hear you.
Catherine asked about the impact of the state budget veto on our budget. So I spoke with Senator Guida's office, I spoke with NHMA, and what they advised is that the legislature is coming back to Concord on September 18th and 19th to address the vetoes, and the budget will be part of that. Currently, right now, you probably know, we're in a 3-month continuing resolution until September 30th, and the departments are authorized to spend according to the prior budget. So that's a quarter of their 2019 appropriation. The items that could impact towns include school funding. State aid to schools was $35 million in the 2020 budget, so it's nothing now, but that's what we're waiting on. We're still operating under the 2019 budget, which is a reduction in the stabilization grants, which means less money to towns. There's a $40 million in municipal aid, which I think might have been in your FYI folder. I don't know if it made it or not, but $20 million in each year in the 2020 budget. So that's being put on hold right now. And rooms and meals revenue. And the Department of Revenue will start the tax rate setting process October 1st, no matter what's going on in the legislature. So that's kind of where we're at. It sounds like they're trying to come to some solution, but
What I've read is the legislature is trying to pass a budget that's 90+ million more than the revenue they're going to take in.
That doesn't make sense.
So, but
so that's all I have.
There are some
I have a question.
concerns that our tax rate might have to change next year.
Pat is the question.
On the FYI on Kevin Belangis, did you get my email and ask him to work with the program director so that it doesn't affect the kitchen work on the senior center?
I can ask them. I guess my only concern would be is how much, I don't know what you've got on the other side and how much I don't know, I'll ask him, but
It's the
that's,
kitchen, if you stop the kitchen, the seniors won't have meals, we have to inform
right, so I'm just
Cap
saying,
that there won't be meals and they can do like a box lunch or something that day.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, they don't do any teaching there anyway.
But it's, the 26th is, the week of the 26th is not Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
right. I will ask him, but just be aware that if they, obviously if they're working around that, that may delay that getting done. Right?
I'm just asking you to check it.
Yeah, no, I will, I will. But I guess, you know, what, if he says, well, if I,
If we act now, I guess what I'm saying is if we talk and get Cindy involved in it now, perhaps she can contact Cap and just do a
I see.
bag lunch so you
Okay.
don't use the kitchen. I think that's where I'm going on that. And that way they don't use the kitchen, you can move things out of the kitchen, whatever. That's been done, we did that when we did the floor, we changed the floor in the main hall. We let Cap know ahead of time when we didn't have any meals for the seniors, so
Okay.
that's what happened. Yes.
I will contact
Just
him
communicate with
tomorrow.
them, yeah, that's what I'm asking. Okay.
Is that it?
That's it for me.
Okay. And so, one of the things, we have somebody here with us tonight. I don't know if we've all been introduced. You know who this is, Joe?
This is Jason. This is my
Jason.
old pal, Jason.
Okay.
Jacob.
See that? I knew there was a J name in there somewhere.
Jacob is our, just because people know the word intern better than fellow, when I say this is my fellow.
Well, good for you.
But Jacob has been with us since June. And he's working on the standard operating procedures manual. He's been doing an amazing job with process, flow charts. Just a couple of days ago, we had a meeting with some businesses in the community. Got a chance to meet Alex Ray. And, you know, they were asking me questions about vacancy rates and ownership on Main Street. And I couldn't answer, it was a question I asked when I came on board here, and there didn't seem to be any readily available information. So Jacob took upon himself to get that information, and it's great. I mean, he's just been doing a fantastic job for us, so thank you.
Oh, it's what you don't eat.
Yep, and I think it's been a good experience for him because he's got to touch every department, whether it was the sewer or the town clerk tax collector, and kind of hear what they do, and given him a, I think, real nice, well-rounded experience for when you become a town administrator.
Well, despite him like not remembering the name, repeatedly required to sign it.
It would be great to see you at our town meeting too in March. It won't be part of the program, but you'll see a lot of the stuff that you've been working on, formulating into what the voters are gonna see in March. We have a good town meeting.
And he is a planning board member of Milford, so,
Really?
yeah, he's involved in his own community too.
Oh, good. That's a good one. That's a good
We'll send you the video if you can. Okay, so, a couple of things, we've got the, I think, selectmen's reports. It's a little late. Had us for a couple of minutes.
I have 3 things, yeah. I've been trying to make a list. Last week I skipped over it because for time-wise, we got out of here late. I know it's late, but we'll meet for a couple of weeks. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
In the FYI, or in the signing folder, there's a planning board member, the application. I don't know that person, I've never met that person, it's a friend of a friend. I think that we should come up with some type of a policy that we should kind of meet these people before we,
Always wanted that.
so I don't know how the other people feel. I just would like to meet the person before we sign into a committee member, particularly somebody that's on a legal committee like the planning board.
I agree with you.
So if everybody's okay, maybe,
Did that get,
I don't know, I didn't sign it, I
three
just,
signatures?
I didn't start it.
I didn't sign
Well, there you go.
right, so maybe we can make arrangements to get them.
29th. We don't have a planning board meeting until the 5th. So that'll still be time for them to come up.
Just
But
a,
they can
just
still
a
go
small
to
meeting.
Of course they can, of course they can.
Oh, yeah, they still can attend, that's not an issue at all.
Well, if we approved it on the 29th, I could, if we approved it, I could swear it in. That's what I.
So maybe what I'll do on the 29th is the first 15 minutes, we'll do that, sign some other things and start the workshop at 5 o'clock.
Just a, even a 5-minute kind of thing, but I think we should do it with all committee people, not just this one. I really do feel that,
And the planning board and zoning are two boards really that just kind of scream some kind of experience.
right,
Yeah,
Familiarity.
even with experience in the hard.
right,
So I have a question, if
Let-
we do that,
yeah.
if somebody comes in for 5 or 10 minutes, then we have a public vote and approve them? I mean, or if some of us disagree, we're publicly, we're.
No, we just pass the paper around, you sign it, you sign it.
Or we do a non-public because.
Yeah. I suppose
It's just on any level.
If anybody wishes to.
I don't know if they're gonna have enough time in that meeting to do it, for
Right.
everybody to ask questions and interview.
That might not be, it might be. All right, next thing, a couple of these things that I had on my list, I've talked with Jeannie and got my answers already, but the budget committee met last night, first time since the summer. Tim updated the budget committee on most of everything that was happening and the new hires and so on and so forth. But we'll take note on your budget. I was concerned on one thing with the police department on vehicle maintenance. They've spent 90% of their vehicle maintenance already out of $16,000. They only have $1,500 left, and they still have the rest of the year to go. So that's concerning.
Seems like that would be a big question for the DPW director when he was sitting here.
It is what it is. One of them was because there was a $4,000 transmission that needed to be replaced in an exhaust system and things like that. We got answers on what it was, but it's not predictable.
Why, which vehicle lost a track?
3A.
The chief will have to find it within the budget.
So the next 3.
Yeah, the 3A is a 2013. The oldest car we have is an 04 Crown Vic, I think, and a bunch of, or an 06, and a bunch of
The
08.
3A is not a 13. It's an 03.
No, we don't have an 04. The oldest one's either an 06 or an 04 Crown Vic.
Oh yeah, the 3A is.
3A is probably a Taurus, which would be a 13. So why is the tranny on a 6-year-old? Because we don't have high mileage. If it has 100,000, that one may have 100,000.
Drive it like it's still.
Which is the 3A? G?
Okay, for senior center news, there's been a meal added on Wednesdays once a month, starting September 18th now. That's exciting news. Under negotiations, can we get in touch with Peter Phillips, please, and see when we can start?
He's already,
He's already emailed. So, you're gonna let me know?
yeah,
It's gotta work around our schedule.
right, Peter,
Right.
right.
I haven't heard anything, so that's why I'm bringing it up.
I'm trying to think of I think what it was, Pat, is when you selected, that's what it was. When you selected him, I let all the other ones know that they had not been selected. And I let Peter know that he had been, and he had sent me an email back and said, great, thank you for letting me know, and he would be in touch because the process would start up soon. So that's what it was. I can follow up with him.
Can you just let him know that we're both, one's a school teacher, one's a school bus driver, so that we don't have to work around the schedule that it's kind of convoluted. And then, the other, we haven't heard anything for a while on the painting of the sewer, whatever you call it down there across from T-Hawk.
Letters are going out this week to the schools to give them the parameters of what we're looking for. And when I talked to the superintendent and Rachel Saliba at the school, they said in August is when I should send the letter, because the kids will be coming back at the end of August. And the goal is to have it painted before snow flies, so September.
Okay,
And actually, since you bring that up, because I was thinking about that today, are we providing the paint? I assume we are.
I assume we are.
I would say that we would provide the base coat.
Base coat's on.
Base coat's on, yeah.
Well, then why would we supply the paint?
Well, we're asking them to,
We're asking the schools to do it.
We're asking
I
them
get
to
that.
paint that for us.
yeah.
I get that, but, all right, let's say you asked me to paint Peterson. I'm gonna bring my stuff with me. I mean, I just don't see not bringing it. There are departments, don't we have paint?
Might not
Are they
be.
requesting paint?
Might
They're not, but I wouldn't make the assumption. I mean, they're volunteering their time and their skills. And
I appreciate that, I'm just curious.
I would say we would. That's my opinion.
So we're gonna go and buy speeds.
We have 4 panels and 4 different people that we, so we need to just iron that out, I think.
Which schools are we contacting?
Maybe they can supply something.
Tilton School, the 2 middle schools, I can't remember the names right now, high school. So, I don't
All
know.
the elementary schools?
Southwick.
I don't
3
have,
elementaries, 1 middle, and 1 high school. So those are the only choices.
Tilton School,
I just
middle,
didn't.
okay, we'll get back to
But
it.
you're contacting our school system?
Yeah.
Okay. And what is it?
Yay.
Do we pick a theme? It's been so long, I just don't.
We did not pick a theme. It was basically, I was gonna give them parameters. I've got, this is how big it is, this is the space. You're each gonna get a wall to paint. You can't paint the top, and then they were gonna come back to us and tell us what they were gonna paint.
Oh, cool.
Right.
It's gonna be oriented, right?
Interesting.
I'm excited.
What?
I'm excited for this.
That would be fun.
Okay, one last thing. The Vicky Virgin Food Drive. This is the 9th year. This is also the 9th year that I have kind of spearheaded this, and I am just not able to continue to do this. So it is long hours to stand out there and do this in honor of Vicky. We fill the food drive every single year. Last year, Joe came and helped out and
Every year.
so if another selectman would like to take on this experience, we can send in the paperwork for September 21st to Market Basket. Michelle, I did speak with Michelle at the Family Resources. They send over a lot of volunteers to help out because the food goes to the food pantry over there, which Vicky did start 10 years ago. But I just I can help out, but I can't just spearhead and be there all day long. It's very, very tiring to be the only one there. So we're looking, Gail's going to send the paperwork out to Market Basket to ask for September 21st, because one is either the 14th or the 21st. So if you're going to do it, tell me which one you're going to do, and then which one's better for you, and then Jeannie can tell Gail in the morning to send the letter, the date to Market Basket, and then we can get in touch with Michelle, and we have all of the posters and everything like that, and I'll certainly help and set it up and everything. I just can't be there all day. Just not able to do it. 9 years, this is going on 9 years we built the pantries.
So Michelle is the point person at the,
Nancy Wilson is the point person for the pantry, but Michelle stands out there with volunteers and helps out all day long. And then we take all of the food. Sometimes in the last couple of years we've split it with the Catholic Church pantry, and that's what we've done. We just take a couple of baskets, put it in one car, and put it to the Catholic Church, and take a couple of baskets, put it, however it works out. And then there's usually cash. We give it to Gail, and she divides it, and one goes to the church, one goes to the pantry. Kind of simple. I can go over all that with you. If you would like to do it, if not, Michelle will take over, and I'll help out set it up. But it will be under the Town of Tilton Vicky Virgin Food Drive.
you know what, that'd be a great idea to let Michelle take it over. I'll be there all day on the 21st, so like because they have a steady supply of volunteers.
Yeah.
The food goes to their organization
Yep.
primarily anyway.
Right.
And you still want to bring the church in on this as well?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll do it.
All right, so we'll still do the Town of Tilton Vicky Virgin Food Drive on September 21st. I'll help Michelle set it up in the morning, and then, so Gail, September 21st is the date we'll ask for. And then we'll get in touch with Michelle, and then Michelle will do the volunteers for the day.
And I will talk to you prior to that.
Okay.
And me and Michelle will sit down and kind of like
Yeah.
pass the reins.
Yeah.
Vicky would be so proud.
Yeah.
She'd probably be mad.
Okay, so I'm good, thanks.
Good. I'll go next. So, let's see. I'm going to be meeting with Alan Hanscom tomorrow at 7:30 to take a look at the guardrail on the school walls. Okay, right there.
School what?
Wall. The one that I've sent all pictures of the past couple of years.
Where
rotted
the stone
posts
is
Right
missing.
on Route 3.
Along the river.
along the river. Yeah, and the thing I'm focusing on with him is the rotted posts and the erosion behind the wall and the falling apart of that wall.
Who's Alan Hanson?
The DOT section.
District 3.
District 3.
Engineer?
Yeah.
For the camera.
He's the guy.
Okay.
He's good. So I'll be meeting with him tomorrow, and that's what we'll start focus on, so he knows where we're at with it. I don't know if anybody else has anything else with the wall that they'd like to talk about, but I'm gonna try and get him to replace that guardrail and those posts and
Where you
make the
look
wall
over,
better.
where you look over from the
Where you can open up your
railroad
door.
station and railroad crossing there, and you can see the guardrail where it's just bent over, where the posts
Some
are.
of those guardrails are hanging in the air.
Yeah.
About 30% of those guardrails are broken off or rotted out, and that about probably a good 15, 20 feet of wall is completely washed out from the road to the rocks, with like gaps going below it. The other problem is that when they continually cut the brush from the top, we're getting the trees sort of if you've ever seen a grape orchard, you have these big stumps with little branches that come out. They cut all the little branches and stumps keep growing bigger and bigger, and they're upsetting the rocks. And there's some of the rocks from that wall that have now fallen into the river. And just the overall condition of that wall and the guardrail and the erosion.
Time before True Green runs right through it. For some other company, it could be True Green. though. They
Could be
just-
anybody, but it is
It's true.
it's a big safety hazard.
It is.
And it's our only entrance, and there's a lot of traffic that goes through there. What was the traffic count, 40,000 a day or something?
60,000.
60,000 a day. Cars go through there, and if we were to get that washed out or
Yep.
collapse, we'd have to do it. We'd have to-
Serious problem.
Never mind the school buses.
Yeah. Okay,
Three
ridiculous
on the
traffic.
other side of
counts.
the interstate, your number 2 most heavily traveled secondary road
Yep.
in the state. Behind
First
Route
one's down
3 and
Exit 20.
either Darius or
Yep.
So it's a very important
I think
road to
that's the other
maintain
side.
and keep from washing out.
The 60's the other side?
I think so.
Oh.
No, there
When
was
they, in front of the post office, exit, I know.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what I'm doing. I cut some branches, and I'll continue to do that, just roll lopping and stuff. So open up the wall behind the porta potties, just make it look nicer.
And you're going to buy your supplies.
And yes, I will, thank you. I'm going to be picking up the supplies this weekend to begin and also complete, if all goes well, replacing the insulation underneath the senior center, and that will just be for the materials only. And sealing up under the foundation with some of the proper foam stuff. on the inside.
And while you're doing that, Pat's going to be making a blueberry pie.
And the payment was a blueberry pie. I forgot to say.
Oh no,
vanilla
Joe was making
ice
the
cream.
blueberry pie. I don't bake.
So,
We ma-
I'm
It was you and Joe.
I'm gonna slither around in the crawl space, insulate, and seal the whole senior center in exchange for a blueberry pie. So,
You'll
I don't
get
care where
that
it
pie,
comes from.
John. You'll
Spaghetti
get that
sauce.
Served on a
Spaghetti
dish,
sauce, but
please.
not pie.
Blueberry
So
pie.
that's all, that's all I have. So,
Okay, the Lockmere Village District is the water district of the far east end of town. And we just had a big project up there, extending the water line down Beach Street to the end. Been a couple of weeks now, it's been very disruptive. They finally got the entire trench filled, and the water main is in, and the hydrant is in, and they've started the connections and to redo the road up at the top. And I'm happy to report that the inspector informs me that 10 to 14 days and they should be completed. And so we're going to have totally drinkable water without the salt and softeners and all that stuff on Beach Street. So it has been a thing for them. Up in the tree streets, you know how it is. You know, you'll end up with something nice, but boy, it sure is inconvenient sometimes. Coming up here in September, probably October, they'll be having the senior center cooking classes again for the seniors. And what we do is we cook a dish, or maybe two, and then we have lunch, and we talk about cooking for one person and how to get meals and read labels and nutrition information. So I'll be looking for that in the senior center news. And lastly, there are 2 more concerts scheduled on Island Park this Sunday and the following Sunday. And I feel bad that I don't have the information right in front of me who's playing this week. But the last week is Annie and the Orphans. And it's a salute to the veterans. So I certainly hope everybody will come down for that. All the monies that we make from the barbecues that we have been going to the senior center. And I want to thank Emily LaPlante and Iris Piano, for all of their help, and everybody over the senior center that has helped out, and they've realized several hundreds of dollars over these concerts, and they have a good time, and so I would exhort you to come on down and see us this week at what would be fun, and that's it.
Catherine?
I just have one thing. The email password that we're dealing with.
Yes. My email's messed up too.
Oh,
Don't you love it?
No.
so, is there any way, I don't know how this really came about, but can we undo this?
Yes,
I,
please. Undo what? What has happened?
The 90-day new password.
I talked to Tim
Oh,
about.
no.
I talked to Tim about the problem I'm having. I can't access my town email from home. So, I was talking to him about it, and I said, "But why did you feel that we needed to have so much protection on email? Because our email shouldn't be that private. It's subject to 91A."
That's right.
So what are we hiding? And he said, well, you really don't need it. He's more concerned with computers at the PD and et cetera, not with selectmen's email. So is there any way we can vote to not have this level of protection on our emails?
Please, it's locked up everything I own right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, I can't.
I can't.
You know, and I suggested this a couple of years ago. We have people who have not changed their email passwords 10, 15 years. This also allows us, that email is like a Google address, it also allows us to sign in to the computer network in the town hall, as well as the drive and everything else. So, to change them once in 15 years might be a little difficult, but it's really necessary. Most places require
Tim
every,
says, listen, we have a level of protection that protects our server. And like I said, protecting our emails, it's public.
not
It's
just your
public.
email.
It's the
I'll
virus.
log into
But
it.
there is,
Is it the viruses?
there's a wall between our emails and getting to anything else.
Right,
And that's what he described to me.
right.
I mean, so quite frankly, if you don't want to vote to take it back, you need to know, the only time I'll be able to see town emails is when I'm here.
I can't even do it here.
Why can't you just sit with Tim and
I
have him
have,
assist
but
you
I-
to change your email?
Let me tell you what happened to mine. I changed,
I can't afford to buy a new computer.
I changed my
Because you
password.
change your password?
Yeah,
It's a lot more than
listen,
just
it's a
changing
lot
your
more
password.
than changing your
Yeah.
password, because I changed my password on the Chromebook, which meant I had to change my password at the house. I changed my password at the house. It told me now, in order to access my emails on my phone here, which I use 99% of the time, I must use a lock screen. So if I use a lock screen, I'm on the phone with Community Action the other day with the director. I'm on the phone, excuse me, let me look up at the email that you just sent me. I want to say, oh, I got to do a lock screen, hold on. Oh, it won't recognize my new password. Oh.
It's the settings, and he can assist you
He,
with the
in
settings.
order, we sat down together, in order for him to fix, I had 3 days without emails. In order for him to fix it, he had to remove the ability to have the lock screen, the mobile
The
protection.
settings.
No, the mobile protection altogether. He had to remove it so I could access my emails. I didn't have emails for 3 days. So I'm in favor of this because it's ridiculous. 10 years never had an issue with it.
I'm just curious, what is it different, you didn't have computers, so.
I didn't have a problem.
So I'm just, and I am not a tech person, so I don't know, did it have to be here?
No, but if I remember correctly, it's going to change every 90 days. When you do that to me, now I have to write passwords down because it keeps changing. I don't know what my password is because
I never know what my
that's-
password is, and
that's-
I've got 15 of
I
them.
have that with HealthTrust right now.
Perhaps change the 90 days, but I think once in 15 years is a reasonable time to change it.
We're putting,
Use passwords.
we're putting passwords on something that's public information.
But it's how you sign into our server.
But if it's not broke, why fix it?
Because we got attacked by viruses,
Our own-
and we got attacked by, recently, where our servers were all shut down. People can hack into it.
Our own tech guy said it was not necessary. We didn't have to have this level of protection on our emails.
All I know is
And our
that-
emails didn't get attacked by viruses, our server did.
Well, I gotta remember that.
Yeah, we're getting old.
I am old. Sorry, but there you go.
Motion to go back to our old way.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. And I will tell you, after working for many different companies, many different firms, and public businesses and that, it is a requirement that you change your password. I can see not changing it every 90 days if you want to change that, but the idea that everybody in this town has been using the exact same password that could have been shared or seen by other people for 15 years is absurd and is one of the most largest security violations that you could ever commit. And if you change that, it's your job.
What happens if they 91A your email? You're gonna have to...
We're not talking about that. We're talking about people being able to hack into our system.
And why does our IT guy say it's not necessary?
He's not here. I'd like to ask him.
He said it's not necessary. I mean, he says it's not necessary. I believe him.
To have this level of protection.
Have this level or to have it changed once? Maybe the 90 days,
I didn't ask him that. He
but
said it
when
came
we're
from
talking about
Microsoft.
changing it, that would be me, I suggest.
Why don't we get them to come in and talk to all of us?
Who changed it to begin with? We didn't talk about it.
We
We did talk about it.
We did talk
I don't remember making a motion.
I looked at, I would look back on all the tapes and everything. We didn't make, we did not make a
Okay, so
decision.
we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of not having to change our password?
Go back to the old ways.
Go back to the old
We're
way.
just not having to change our passwords.
Ever? Ever? Is that what you're saying?
Motion.
Okay, all those in favor of not having to ever change your password, say aye.
The motion is to go back to the old ways.
The motion is to remove all those unnecessary protections on everything, like lock screens,
Can you be more clear on the motion?
Google
Go back to the
protections.
old ways is not, we don't have an old ways.
Remove the Google protections that
The
are on our
old ways
systems.
was pre-email and computer.
Could you please, so I can vote correctly, could you clarify your motion, be specific? Need to know what we're voting on.
No, she made the motion, I second.
Not changing our passwords every 30 days, removing our mobile protection lock screens, whatever.
Going back to the old way?
I mean, you said every 30 days?
Yeah, it's, on my thing, on my Google thing, it said every 30 days. On our email, it said every 30 days.
It's not what it said on mine.
90, every 90 days.
Okay, so,
I can't remember that. I can't remember what it was.
Yes.
Meanwhile, remove it so we can access our emails.
So did you make a final motion?
I'm not sure, it was a final discussion.
Temporarily remove the mobile access, so we, lock screen protection that we can, so we can.
That's on your phone.
He
That's not-
temporarily removed it, but there was a directive from the Board of Selectmen, according to Tim. He removed mine,
So it works now. Yes?
yes, but it was a directive from the Board of Selectmen.
But that's, so we're trying to make a motion
Mine is,
to
but
undo what
nobody
was
else's
done.
is.
So undo what was done, which one?
Yes.
Where it was, you ought to
Yes.
change it again.
Undo what was done.
Does that mean I have to go back to the other password then?
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Yeah.
Nay.
I'm waiting on Tim.
We can always change our mind when Tim gets here.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna vote in the affirmative. That will take the lock screen and those things off. I would also.
So Tim comes.
No, it doesn't.
What do you mean, no, it doesn't? They do
That
go
was not
back-
her phone. Changing the password has nothing to do with her phone.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
Go back to
So we
the old
voted to
way,
go
sure
back
it
to the
does.
old way.
Yep,
Don't-
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No, we didn't.
To undo what was done.
yes, I said undo what was done.
Yes, it's-
That's part of the.
Joe,
We'll hear
you're
from
signing
Tim.
for just,
Well, what I
already
would
did
like to
this.
do is have Tim either in his report or come on up here, next couple of weeks or whatever, and explain this. In the meantime, the lock screws are supposed to come off, the password thing is supposed to be rectified, because we're in the old way now. But that doesn't mean we can't be in a totally new way when Tim comes up and explains it, because I'm not sure we need it.
The lock screws are off.
Only in Pat's phone.
so Joe, you're,
I voted yes.
yes, so the motion passes.
That's right.
We're back to that.
And I think we all agree to Tim come
For
in.
now.
So
Well,
do we
I agree
have,
with
does that motion mean we have to revert back to our old passwords?
I certainly hope so.
I bet Google won't accept it.
Well, it might screw up Pat's screen when she goes to change it again, I'm not sure.
Go back to Texas. That'd be
Okay
it.
then. I have something very important to say. Motion to adjourn. Second.
All
Aye.
in favor, say aye.
So, do not buy liquid death water.
Why?
Like I was going to.
Huh?
It is so bad.
We're still on
Did you-
camera.
Did you pour it into a glass?
Don't
If
buy
it sucks, you
liquid
would
death
say
water.
it, yeah.
Let's see what it looks like. Maybe it's a nice shade of brown or
Well, you
something.
forgot to say happy grandpa to Peter.
Oh, really?
Yes.